Have you been diagnosed with nasal polyps? Contact Prism Clinical Research for more information about our nasal polyp study.
A tough loss tonight for the Minnesota Wild brings a streak to 5 straight losses. 5-4 your final score tonight. It's time for Wild Breakaway, presented by Prism Research. With Wes Walls, I'm Audra Martin. This game in Winnipeg was the widest range of emotions I think we've seen this season. From the first period where the Wild were extremely deflated, down and out, then all of a sudden a crazy second period. It's a tie game, 4-4. Tons of hope, only to have that squash again as they come up short tonight. This one stings because they would have loved to capitalize on a very strong second period.
Well, the fact that they were down 4-0 and were able to fight back to tie the game up at 4-4 going into the third period, it would have been amazing if the Wild could have come back and completed this comeback, and what it would have done for their psyche, especially with what's gone on, losing 4 straight before this game here tonight and 6 of 7. It hasn't been great for the Minnesota Wild here over the last little while. But unfortunately, they just gave up that goal in the third period. Hutchinson come in. They made a goaltending change after the second period, which I thought was a great move by Paul Maurice over on their side. And Hutchinson made a couple huge saves in the third period to keep this game from going into overtime, and one especially big save was, honestly, right at 2 seconds left on Matt Dumba, stuck his leg out, and a very, very entertaining game to watch. Very entertaining.
Here's a look at tonight's final stats. 21 shots on goal in the second period for the Wild. It ends with a season-high 48 shots compared to just 21 from the Jets. 1 for 3 on the power play tonight and 3 for 4 on the penalty kill. This one stings. There's no way around it for the Minnesota Wild as they now have to look ahead to a tough opponent, and that, of course, is the San Jose Sharks. Tuesday night back here on home ice, then another one Thursday night as they take on the Philadelphia Flyers, and wrap things up Saturday, an afternoon of hockey with the Vancouver Canucks in town at the XL Energy Center. But first things first, the San Jose Sharks, that's a tough opponent. It's a tough draw, especially just considering the mood that, surrounds the Minnesota Wild right now. But if they can get a win in that one, it could be huge.
Well, they're a very good team. And actually, the San Jose Sharks, the last real solid game the Minnesota Wild played, and actually I thought tonight they played a pretty solid game all over the ice, but the last real solid 60-minute game that the Minnesota Wild have played was on home ice against the San Jose Sharks. We beat them 3-1. I think the Minnesota Wild, if I remember correctly, held them to maybe 6 or 8 scoring chances. Really a dominant performance. So hopefully they can build off that, the momentum off of that win 2 weeks ago. But there's one thing the Minnesota Wild got to be very careful of is 7 of their next 9 games are at home. And if they think this is just going to turn because we happen to be at home, it doesn't work like that. Right now there's a lot of teams that are fighting for playoff positions all over the league. There's young kids in the league that are getting called up that are playing to maybe get a contract next year. So this is a very difficult time of the year to get wins. But hopefully the Minnesota Wild can come out and get off to a good start against the San Jose Sharks in a couple nights.
And hopefully the skid will end at 5.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. We will see you in a few days. Thursday night is when we're back on the air for the game against the Philadelphia Flyers. So enjoy the rest of your weekend and the start of your week. We'll see you Thursday night. For Wes Walls, I'm Audra Martin. Thanks for joining us on Wild Breakaway, presented by Prism Research.